Dana White reveals he would be shocked if Jon Jones doesn't fight Tom Aspinall. Stipe 100% is going to retire after this fight, White told Kevin Iole. Listen, Jon Jones, you know how I talk about Jon Jones and what I think of Jon Jones as a fighter. Jon Jones always loves to challenge himself, moved up to heavyweight. I don't know what Jon Jones will do after this fight, but I would be shocked if he didn't want to test himself against Tom Aspinall. Everything I'm saying, these are fucking facts, White said. It's not like me and Jon Jones have this unbelievable relationship like I have with Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor and some of these guys that have fought in the past. You know this is not the case. What I am saying about Jon Jones is undebatable. It's undebatable what this guy has accomplished in his career, and if he beats Stipe and he comes out and fights Tom Aspinall and beats him, it's already undeniable. Nobody. I don't care how much you dislike Jon Jones for what he's done. This isn't about personally who Jon Jones is and do you like him. We're talking about the baddest dude to ever walk the face of the earth in combat sports already. If he goes out and beats Tom Aspinall, he cements his legacy as the greatest fighter of all time. Tom Aspinall backs Muhammad Mokaev over unfair contract situation with the UFC and shares details of hotel beef. The situation between Muhammad Mokaev and the UFC will seemingly go on until the 24-year-old announces his next move, but interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has backed Mokaev over the situation. I heard some stories about kicking each other's hotel rooms when they're trying to sleep and trying to kick the doors down. I don't even know what's happened, but these are rumors, Aspinall explained in an interview with Carl Frosch. I think it's unfair that they won't re-sign him, to be honest with you. I think it's unfair. This has happened before, all this beef in the hotel and at the weigh-ins and all the rest of it. It's not the first time, so I think it's a bit unfair on him just to kick him out indefinitely, Aspinall continued. Tom Aspinall reveals how a fight between Islam Makhachev and Khabib would have gone. I actually think Islam might take that fight. I think he's a bit of a better striker. I think he's a more dangerous striker. I think grappling-wise they're very similar, but I reckon Islam might take that. UFC referee Herb Dean responds to Joe Rogan's criticism over his recent KO stoppage, which occurred in a light heavyweight title fight between Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill. The controversy in the UFC 300 main event arose seconds before the fight was stopped. Hill kicked Pereira in the groin, and while the referee Herb Dean tried to call for a timeout, Pereira gestured to continue fighting. As a result, they resumed fighting, which led to Hill being flatlined on the canvas by Alex Pereira's demolishing left hook. Jamal wasn't happy with this decision. He said, "If Herb Dean could have done anything, I would have liked to have had a more clean and better reset. I think that would have been one thing I would have liked to see differently." Not only Jamal Hill, but also Joe Rogan has spoken about this topic on his podcast. Jamal accidentally hits him low, kicks him in the hip, and Herb Dean comes in to stop it. Jamal has stopped and relaxed after he threw the kick. He gives him a thumbs up, and then Pereira advances. Pereira had a double hop. Herb Dean later responded to Joe's criticism saying, "I know that my job and my focus is to referee clean fights as much as I can. There's a couple of analysts in our sport who are really good at picking out sensational things, and they're so sincere when they talk. I mean, I think they can talk you into believing everything. Their words will be your lying eyes. Some of these people have jobs in this sport. Maybe they know their job is to get clicks." Belal Muhammad is eyeing his first title defense to either be for legacy or against welterweight boogeyman. Any one of them, Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov, right. Usman, obviously I think for legacy. He was one of the biggest names in the division. He's under GSP, and I think he still got tread on the tires, even though he had losses. Close fight with Leon, then a close fight to Khamzat Chimaev. Muhammad began to explain in an interview with ESPN MMA. I think name value, he has a bigger name than Rakhmonov, but also I want to fight the boogeyman that everyone says that he can beat anybody, he can walk through anybody, and the way my career has been, they've always been putting me as an underdog, he continued. Kamaru claims Belal Muhammad isn't like him at all. Belal stuck to his guns and decided, hey, you know what, I'm gonna wait for my title shot, so I don't take anything away from him, and I don't see a world where Belal doesn't say, yeah, I waited so long to earn this title, I want to enjoy it a little. This feels nice to be called the UFC welterweight champion, Usman explained on the Pound for Pound podcast. I can understand him wanting to feel that feeling rather than rush back into camp and rush back into another fight, but you know, they're not like us, like me. I was willing to jump back in that motherfucker, Usman stated. Tony Ferguson is open to opportunities outside of UFC. I felt sick. I threw up probably like maybe 3 or 4 times, being nervous as fuck. I usually don't get nervous, but in the back, I was kind of yakking and dry heaving, which was kind of funny how that works. This is the only sport that makes me do that. When it goes to any other thing, it's kind of interesting how it goes. I think more than anything else because I want to perform to the best of my ability out here, and I really didn't. There's a lot of things obviously I need to work on, but it's all putting together. Obviously getting in there and feeling more comfortable inside that octagon. Tony Ferguson hasn't been ready to retire despite losing a record number of fights in the UFC. Even after 8 straight losses and feeling better because the last loss wasn't too damaging, he's still unsure about quitting. He's planning to go home, talk with his family, and decide what to do next. "I know when it will be time," Ferguson said. "There's a lot of things that I can and can't do. I just teamed back up with my boy Anthony Gonzalez from American Gym. I felt this whole entire camp I had just gotten back into sparring, where it was me putting myself back into a team. You have no idea how hard that is for me to be able to do that.